So let's get started. My name is Heather Kramer. I'm with the MedeXN Fitness Institute, and I'm going to be your presenter for this evening. I just wanted to welcome everyone and thank you for joining us today for the seminar, Transforming Lives Through Medical Fitness Exercise. And I want a big thank you going out to the FNB Executive Director, Derek O'Keefe, for this opportunity to speak with you all on this important topic. Everyone can see our agenda for this evening's webinar. So we're going to start with I'll start with a little bit about who I am and why I'm such an advocate for medical fitness exercise. We're going to talk about what medical fitness exercise is and who it's for. And then we're going to take a look at the opportunities that you actually have to specialize in New Brunswick. We're going to finish with how medical fitness exercise fits into an existing fitness practice, a class or training, personal training, or even in a fitness facility. And then at the end, we will have time for questions. And my hope is that by the end of this webinar, you'll be able to see all the benefits for specializing in one or more areas in medical fitness exercise and become that much needed resource in your community. So as I mentioned, my name is Heather Kramer. I am a fitness professional, just like you all are. I'm a personal trainer and a cancer exercise specialist. I do teach. I teach classes for 55 plus. I'm also a spin instructor, and I teach the ICE certification for the Nova Scotia Fitness Association. I'm also a member on their board. So if you see the picture there, that's me kneeling down in front of the class. That was the last class that I taught last fall. We had a blast. It was a lot of fun, and we have some great new spin instructors out there. I'm also the co-owner of MedeXN with my husband, Hugh, and MedeXN is an online resource for continuing education courses and certifications for fitness professionals who are interested in specializing in the medical fitness exercise space. Our mission when we started the company, and it still is to help build a community of fitness professionals who can support Canadians no matter where they are on the fitness continuum. As you can also see, I'm very involved with nutrition because I know it's such an important piece of our overall wellness. I'm a graduate of the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition and a co-author of the Natural Nutrition Coach program with the Health Coach Collaborative. I'm also a cancer survivor, and that's kind of the story of how I ended up becoming a fitness professional. So I was thinking about this, I think it was like 12 years ago. It seems like it was 12 years ago that I was first diagnosed with cancer. And about 3.5 months after I had my surgery, I decided that I wanted to exercise, but I needed help. I needed help exercising. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to get started. And this is typical of many of the clients in the medical fitness exercise space. They don't know what to do. So I was fortunate. I hired a personal trainer who was very wonderful, but unfortunately didn't understand how to work with someone who had my type of surgery and reconstruction. And so it was really challenging for me as a client. I still remember to this day, my first session. Now, this space had a lot of stairs. And I remember looking at the stairs thinking, am I going to be able to make it out? And literally thinking I was going to have to ask for help to my vehicle. So it was a bit traumatic, but I persevered. And what did happen, though, is that the impact of the exercise. So when you have an illness, a chronic disease, it feels like your body's let you down and you feel like you've lost control over your body. But when that impact of the exercise that I was doing was so transformative, so much so that I literally decided to take an early retirement from my corporate job that I had, and I became certified to help others as a personal trainer and also as a cancer exercise specialist. And so it's still my passion. 12 years later, I love what I do, and I know it makes a difference in other people's lives, just like you do every day with your clients. Take a moment and read that statement on the slide. Sarah Hodson is the president of the Fitness Industry Council of Canada, and she's also the president of Live Well Exercise Clinic. So we are really standing inside of an opportunity to rebuild the industry, especially after what happened with COVID, and offer a new product, medical fitness exercise, that champions the success of every person that walks through our doors. I want you to take a moment, think about that client who has a chronic illness, maybe has never been to the gym, and all of a sudden they find out about a trainer in their area who specialized in a chronic illness that they're living with. Imagine how confident that client would feel taking the next steps to start exercising, knowing that that fitness professional understands how to work with them safely and effectively. So in the fitness industry, we have an opportunity to champion that success of everyone who wants to exercise. And that includes those who need additional support. And as a practitioner in the medical fitness exercise space myself, I couldn't agree more with what Sarah's saying. It really is an exciting and growing opportunity for fitness professionals looking for longevity in the fitness industry. Post-COVID, I really feel that the whole fitness industry is recalibrating. So it really makes sense to have, now that we have the time to develop these new skills, it can bring a whole new demographic of clients, ones that maybe haven't sought your services in the past. And these potential new clients, well, they represent a huge opportunity for our fitness industry. And in return, we in the fitness industry can help these clients to safely and effectively reach their goals and even exceed their goals. When we specialize in the medical fitness exercise space, we can really help to champion their success. Okay, so I'm going to get off my soapbox now. Can you tell I'm passionate? I'm very passionate about the medical fitness exercise space. Okay, so this is why we're here. What is medical fitness exercise? So if you think about fitness as a continuum, then medical fitness exercise fits into the space on this fitness continuum between medical management and physio and regular fitness. So it actually represents the solution to the gap in the services for people that have been released from care. So think about, somebody that's been under a doctor's care, maybe going to physio or rehab, and they say, okay, you're good, you can go. But they're not necessarily good. They're not ready for regular exercise, right? So they really still require the support of someone who is knowledgeable for their unique fitness requirements. Here's the big thing with medical fitness exercise. A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to be working with sick people. You're not working with sick people, all right? These aren't sick people. They're people that have non-communicable diseases like diabetes, or cancer, maybe osteoporosis, a little maybe cognitive decline, heart issues, people living with stress. So you're not dealing with people who are sick, but they're functional, but they're compromised in some way that affects their functionality. I've been here, and I'm sure you have, and you know people who have. Your doctor or your healthcare professional says, you need to increase your activity, you may need to exercise, but you have no idea, or the patient has no idea what to do. So medical fitness exercise is the answer to these two questions. What do I do now? And what can I do now? Okay. So what the specialist can answer the question, what can I do now? What am I able to do now? What is my new normal? So this is really where a specialist who's had training in a discipline within the medical fitness exercise space can really help. They consider what stage their client is at for every session. And because we know, and especially if someone has chronic illness, one day they can feel good, another day not so good, right? And even within a session, things can change, fluctuations can occur. So specialists would know what to watch for. And it's really important for the client that the specialist understands, knows what to look for, and can make adjustments for the client's program, or if they're in group fitness, you can give them an alternative. Specialists understand the limitations that can result from the client's conditions. So think about treatments such as chemo or radiation. drug therapy, surgery. So surgery scars, healing and pulling, where the scars are. How is that going to affect the client's movement or even their mobility? Are they able to move their limbs? Side effects from drugs, for example, methotrexate, which is a drug that's used to treat rheumatoid arthritis, can cause neuropathy. Well, what happens if the client loses the feeling in their feet and it starts to affect their balance? So it's really important to know, what's going on with your client, and then you can adjust your client's program accordingly. Specialists also understand contraindications. For example, think of somebody has had prostate cancer, and they had treatment which included radiation to the lymph nodes in the groin. So, or they might have even had some lymph nodes removed. So they're going to be at higher risk for lymphedema. Lymphedema is the swelling that occurs when the lymph fluid becomes backed up because the nodes have become damaged, or maybe they were removed. So that particular person would have to be very careful using any weights on the lower body. You'd probably do no weight at all, just body weight. However, for their upper body, they wouldn't have any limits. So you also can notice on the slide that there is a picture of a leg with a compression garment on it. So that is used to actually help the lymph circulate. So just for your own knowledge, the lymphatic system doesn't have a pump like the circulatory system. It relies like our heart, right? Pumps for our blood. The lymphatic system doesn't have a pump. So it actually relies on muscle contractions, and the compression garment helps with that. For women, for example, someone with breast cancer, if they've had surgery, mastectomy, if they've had nodes removed underneath the armpit, there's a lot of nodes there, right? They can get lymphedema in the arms. So a lot of times they are prescribed a sleeve. So it'd be a sleeve, a compression sleeve. Now they have to wear them. If they show up for a session, if they come to your group and they don't have that prescribed sleeve, they cannot exercise. Okay, so specialists, again, they know what the contraindications are. Okay, think about somebody with diabetes. What are they able to do starting out on an exercise program? For example, should you get them to do some high intensity exercise? Or would that be contraindicated? All right, so hopefully you're all saying no. In the screen, no, they shouldn't be doing high intensity exercises starting off. No burpees. And specialists can help implement a doctor's recommendation for exercise. For example, they can limit the type of exercise they can do, or they may tell you what types of exercise that the client can do, how much weight they can lift, or if they need a special garment or a brace, for example. And specialists will also know when to refer back. So this happens quite often, especially with women that have had breast cancer. They have a real limitation in their range of motion, and you can't put weight in their hand until they at least have some mobility, right? So you don't want them out here pressing weights and they can't lift their arm. So you may want to refer them back to their physio, right? You can still work with them for other things, but and you definitely want to make sure that they're referred back. And also maybe sometimes you see things that you think, oh, maybe you should see your doctor for. Now you can't diagnose, that's not our job as specialists, but you see things and you can say, hey, maybe it's a good thing that you go back and see your doctor and maybe have some things checked out. So we're answering the question, what can a medical fitness exercise specialist do? So in a nutshell, we've covered it all really. They move their client along the fitness continuum, right? That's what they're doing. That they want them to move through medical fitness exercise and into the regular exercise. They help their clients in recovery from chronic illness and disease. They help to lower the risk for developing chronic illness and disease in the future. So think about somebody who's had cancer and really doesn't want to have a recurrence, right? So you're helping these clients to not have that recurrence, lowering their risk for it. Think about somebody with prediabetes. you're helping them hopefully not to progress to full diabetes. So those are some of the powers that a specialist can have. I call them our superpowers, helping our clients reduce their risk, right? We can't promise we prevent it, but we can help lower their risk. The other thing is we help our clients to keep their independence so that they can live a long and active life, long and functional life. And of course, then they continue to come to your classes and training and they love you. So why is it important for you as a fitness professional to be able to answer those clients' questions? What do I do now? And what can I do now? All right, I want to give you the answer to that one. It's because you're going to be seeing a lot more of those people with health concerns, and here's why. Canada's aging population, just to give you a couple of figures, in 2015, 1 in 6 were over the age of 65. Now it's 1 in 5. And by 2030, it's estimated to be 1 in 4. So it's really evident that for longevity in the industry, it makes sense that you understand this population and their health concerns. You can see on the screen what the top chronic diseases are 1 in 4 Canadians are living with. So I think it's, cardiovascular disease, cancer, diabetes, osteoporosis, and chronic respiratory disease. So for longevity, it does really make sense that we want to learn more about how we can work with this population. Okay, I think we're going to go to a poll. All right, everybody get ready. So you see where the polls are. Down below, next to Q&A, there's a little thing called a poll. So I'm going to activate in a moment. So here's the question. In New Brunswick, what is the median age? So the median age is the age that half the population is under and half is over. So I'm going to open up the poll, launching the poll. All right, so we'll give you about 30 seconds to go down into the poll and put your answer. What do you think the median age is in New Brunswick? All right, give it a moment. 5 more seconds. Any more last minute answers? Okay, I'm going to end the poll. I'm going to share the results. Okay, so we had some people say 44.2, and we have some say 47.8. All right, let's go to the next slide and see what the answer is. Ooh, we didn't have any correct guesses. Interesting. Okay. So the median age in New Brunswick is 45.7. All right. So that essentially means that half of your population's over the age of 46. So New Brunswick is second just behind Newfoundland. And I think other than PEI, which I think is the 5th or 6th in the provincial rankings, here in Atlantic Canada, I think we have the oldest demographic in Canada. We definitely have an aging population. So I think we've surprised a few people there. And we do have someone from Quebec, so you're fourth. Okay, so what comes with an aging population? Well, you can guess lots of increased health issues. So right off the top, the Canadian Cancer Society statistics show that most cancer diagnoses, about 90% of them, occur after the age of 50. I was diagnosed at the age of 50, so now you know how old I am. And add on. Just as an aside, I teach a stretch and tone class. Okay, so it's a stretch and tone, it's not a cancer exercise class. My participants are in their 60s, mostly in their 70s, and I have a couple in the 80s. In the past year, I've had someone from the class pass away from cancer, and I've had 3 more diagnosed with cancer. Thankfully, 2 of them have really good prognosis. One, unfortunately, is stage 4, but still comes to class twice a week. Now, this, like I said, it's not a class for cancer clients. It was a class, it's designed to support functionality. But because of the demographic, this is just typically what you're going to see. And I feel fortunate that I am a cancer exercise specialist because I do know how to modify exercises for these clients. And we know that many of these adults have at least one chronic condition. 44% of adults over the age of 20 have at least one, are living with at least one chronic condition. And as they age, you end up having multiple chronic conditions. You could be working with somebody who's living with obesity and has diabetes, or diabetes and osteoporosis, or heart disease. There's a lot of different comorbidities that they can have. And what happens again? Stress increases. And a lot of people think, well, if you're older, maybe you don't have as many stresses, your kids are grown and gone and so on. But think about people who live with chronic conditions. They're at a higher risk for developing long-term stress. And oftentimes it's related to the fact that they've lost their functionality and they are not able to do their activities of daily living. They're getting less sleep, which makes them less able to cope. And then they're also less inclined to exercise, and that perpetuates the cycle. And of course, as we age, rates of diabetes in the population also increases. All right, so we have another poll coming up. It's so exciting. All right, let me get the screen. Next question. See if anybody gets this one. All right, what is the current rate of diabetes in New Brunswick, including type 1, type 2, undiagnosed type 2, so people that are living with type 2 diabetes that don't know it, and pre-diabetes? So is the answer 20%, 25%, 30%, or 35%? All right, I'm going to go back. I'm going to launch. Take a moment, think about it. What do you think? And then we will go to the next screen. I don't know if you can see my cursor. I'm circling the number. It's a big one. So did you get it right, or are you surprised? So 35%, that's a lot, right? And look at this number over here. 39% by the year 2032. So close to 40% of the population. Just take a moment and let that sink in. Almost 40% of the population, the adult population in New Brunswick will be living with type 1, type 2, undiagnosed type 2, or pre-diabetes. That's really something. Okay, so this is where the rubber meets the road. So what does, this is a lot of information. What does it all mean for you? Okay, I think we've seen the need, right? We've got lots of people, older people with chronic illness, aging population. We've seen that opportunity. So what does it actually mean for you as a fitness professional? I think you can look at it from two different perspectives. I know most fitness professionals in the industry, they love fitness. We know its benefits and we just want to help people. So when you specialize, you're being even more inclusive, having more people in the community able to join, because you're championing the success of those who want to exercise, but without your help, they may not be able to. Just to give you an idea of what that impact could be, there was a study published in the Clinical Diabetes and Endocrinology journal that showed approximately 25% of those individuals with prediabetes progressed to full type 2 diabetes within 3 to 5 years. And as many as 70% of the individuals living with prediabetes will go on to develop overt type 2 diabetes in their lifetime if they don't have any intervention. So people who are diabetes exercise specialists who work with these people, they are the intervention. You could be that intervention. You could help someone who has prediabetes not go on to develop diabetes. And in fact, according to Dr. Sherry Kohlberg, she wrote our diabetes exercise program, you can help them in some cases even reverse their prediabetes. So think about how powerful that is, how transformative that could be in someone's life. And that's just one example of what a specialist can do. Okay, so that is our feel-good side. That's our altruistic side. So let's just look at it from a purely business perspective. You've seen the statistics. We've got an aging population in New Brunswick. The median age is 46. That comes with a lot of chronic illnesses. That is a lot of potential for new clients for your classes, your personal training sessions, filling up your calendar. And of course, so that's one thing. So building your business is fabulous. Also, as fitness professionals, we are required to get continuing education. I'm probably like you. I've taken a bunch of different continuing education just because I needed to get the credits, and then I just never used it. It was nice at the time. It filled what I needed to do to get my credits to renew my certification, but wasn't something I really was using. I can guarantee you, if you take a specialty, you will use it. You might use it for somebody in your family, your clients. It will be used at some point. We call them meaningful CECs because they really, truly are meaningful in other people's lives. The other thing you can do is advance your career. So people that are specialists, they stand out in their field, right? If you put a resume in and for a position and the manager is looking and, people are, oh, they're all personal trainers, but here's somebody that has a specialty. Well, maybe they can bring more people in. Maybe they can work with a different population. And I'll give you an example. Caitlin Doyle, who is a clinical exercise physiologist at the University of New Brunswick, she hires people, trainers for her recreation facility. And they actually they do have a diabetes clinic there. I've had conversations with Caitlin in the past, and I've asked her, what is it that you look for when you're hiring for your rec department? So when she hires, she looks for trainers who have specialties. And this is why it's because it expands the services that her organization can offer. And it can give the client confidence in the trainer that they understand the client's needs. So it's not from me, it's from somebody that actually does the hiring. They look for these, right? Because they know that they can service more people in their community, and they also bring more people through the door. All right, so we've covered quite a bit. We've just got a few more slides left to go, and then we're going to go into answering some questions. So I think we've answered what medical fitness exercise is, who it's for, and why it's important. And now we're going to look at and what it can do for you. And now we're going to look at how does it fit into an existing program? That's the thing. A lot of people think, well, do I need a lot of extra equipment? Do I need this big investment? And the answer is actually no. You don't need to invest in a lot of new equipment. You probably won't need any new equipment. It's really all about what the client is able to do, what's contraindicated. It's about applying your knowledge as a specialist. Many clients who are in the medical fitness exercise space, they're literally starting at zero, right? They're at ground level. That's their new normal. And a lot of people will just start off walking and using body weight for exercise and doing range of motion and some mobility. And until you, as their specialist, their trainer, and they understand what their body can actually handle and what their new normal is. So I'm sure if you're teaching classes now, you're already modifying for participants. You probably do it all the time. I run a stretch and tone class. Like I said, I give modifications depending on what my participants' issues are that day. I always start the day and ask, how's everybody doing? We have anything we need to think about today? Any soreness? So as a specialist, when you're working with these clients that have special requirements, these are modifications that you make based on your new knowledge from the specialty that you have. So for those clients that you're working with, they may have different needs that you have to consider, and just having that special knowledge can make all the difference. I'll give you a couple of examples. So we saw the leg with the compression garment. So let's say that this gentleman had prostate cancer and he had treatment for it. Now he's on androgen therapy. So that keeps the testosterone low and help reduce the risk from the cancer coming back. So one of the side effects for that is gynecomastia, which is the enlargement of the breasts. So for that gentleman, you'd probably want to make sure that he's keeping his weight down. He's doing his cardio. We're doing some weight training. for the muscles. So there's certain things that you would do based on whatever therapy they're going through. If you have someone living with type 2 diabetes, like just understanding what the signs of hypoglycemia are, having them monitor their blood glucose as they're working out, and knowing and understanding what those different levels are, and if they get too low, what are the steps that you want to take, what they should be doing. Here's an interesting one. This is for somebody that, for example, if they're a cancer exercise specialist. So if you have a client that has a lat flap, so that's where they actually take the muscle from the latissimus dorsi. So that muscle, they bring it under the arm and in the front, and they create a breast mount. So they take that lat muscle, bring it through, put it in the front of the chest to create a breast mount. It's one of the reconstructive surgeries that men or women, I should say, and sometimes even men have after a mastectomy. So if you were a trainer in a gym, would you have a client do a lat pull down? So I want you to think about that for a moment, because they're doing lat pull down. What muscles are being activated, right? So what about women who have expanders or breast implants? What types of chest exercises should they do, or should they do any? So the more the more knowledge that you do have, the more people that you can help. And these clients, they can be part of a regular class. So you don't have to have a special class just for them. You can include them in your regular class. You just need to know how to modify things. But if you did want to run specialty classes, that is actually awesome. One of the things you'll find very quickly are people that have different chronic illnesses. They love being together. They just feel such a connection. It becomes like a tribe, right? Excuse me. And often, like in a fitness facility, they probably have space. If they're running classes, they're not using it all the time. So if you were able to run classes in these off times, they'd probably think that was wonderful. So they'd welcome the extra business. So again, fitting it into an existing program is easy. It really, whatever it is that you want to do, whether you bring them into your existing class or as personal training clients, or you want to run some special classes for them, that's an option. What I'm getting at is really not about the equipment and all these specialty things. It's really about applying the knowledge that you have and being able to train them and getting them to feel that confidence that you really know what you're doing and you're able to help them and you're able to transform their lives. So I think we're just about done, and then we're going to open for questions, and hopefully we can get Derek his volume on there. So I'm going to leave you with this thought. Exercise can really do amazing things, right? If exercise was a pill, it would be the most prescribed medicine in the world. So I hope after watching this webinar, you'll give some consideration to specializing in some areas of medical fitness exercise and help to transform even more lives. And when you're interested, for Fitness New Brunswick, there is a code that you can use with the courses that we have on our online for most of them, and you'll save 25%. So just letting you know that when the time is right for you. All right, and you can see also my contact information. I'd love to hear from you if you have any questions you want to talk about. What are the opportunities? What are the courses all about? We do have some trials that you can sign up for, some free information, take a look through, and you can also check out our website at www.medexn.com. All right, I know we have a whole bunch of things in the Q&A, so I'm going to go to the questions, and I'm going to check the chat for a second. All right. Someone from Nova Scotia here, and she's saying many community-based wellness centers in Nova Scotia. Many of these clinics have exercise specialists. Great to hear. What program of yours would you recommend them to take to become more diversified for the communities? In Nova Scotia, the rate of diabetes is high, but so is cancer. Danielle, I would say, I mean, diabetes, cancer, exercise specialists, it really doesn't matter. You just, whatever you take, you're going to be supporting a community who needs it. So, I mean, those are the big ones for sure. Those are the two that, as you can see, we've got a lot of people. The nice thing about with the cancer exercise, for example, cancer, even though the rates are going up, fortunately, survivorship is also going up. So that just means that there's going to be a lot of survivors out there that need support. And that's wonderful. Diabetes, obviously, it's a huge concern. The obesity rates are very high in the Maritimes. And of course, that's a contributing factor for the development of diabetes. So even just addressing obesity is really important. Yeah, so hopefully I answered your question. Okay, so does anybody have any questions for me? You can just put them right in the Q&A. Our course is pre-recorded. I'm very interested. I need to be, okay. So the courses that we have are all done online, and they're a combination of PDFs and videos, and all done online. It's all done in your time. There's quizzes as you go through, and then usually the final exam. Yeah, so it's you can go on our website and check it out. And like I said, you can download some previews and just take a look through the materials. Does that answer your question, Debbie? Okay, practical. Okay, so Crystal is asking for a practical test. So practical test, not in the cancer exercise and the diabetes. Everything is done online. However, I know that Andrea, for example, with the diabetes exercise, or sorry, cancer exercise specialist, she does do workshops, and I am definitely open to doing workshops as well. I can teach the program, and yeah, I can do some training and workshops as well. Chad, thank you very much. Thanks for this wonderful session. Wonderful. I appreciate it, Chad. Thank you very much. Debbie, thank you. Wonderful. So I don't know if we have, I have another question here. Do you find the healthcare industry is more receptive to referral if you have specialized medical fitness training? Absolutely, Danielle. I know that currently in Nova Scotia, there is a program that working with Nova Scotia Health, where they have some of their clinics on board, and they're actually doing recommendations out to the fitness industry. So this is something that's coming. It's in Nova Scotia now in a few of the clinics. You're going to see it spread. And I know in Nova Scotia or in New Brunswick, we will see that as well. Oh, we got a few more. This has been great. Thank you. Very interesting. Thank you. Appreciate it. Any more questions?
Yeah, can you hear me?
There you are. Yay.
That's okay. My video is not working, but
okay,
my audio is. But
awesome.
That's okay. You don't need to see me anymore. Well okay. Done. No, thank you very much. And honestly, that was a very informative session. And thanks for everyone for logging on. I just want to say, I mean, you can see clearly that having a specialty in your certifications is important. You know, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach like a lot of people think. You know, to advance your career, having that extra knowledge and that specialty education can, you know, it goes a long way. You know, it helps service your clients better, and it also helps your business better. That you have that niche, you have that education. So thank you very much, and I'm sure our members are delighted to learn more about the courses that are on offer.
Oh, my pleasure, Derek, and thank you very much for the opportunity. And also, I just wanted to let everybody know, again, I am very serious about if anybody wants to reach out, I'd be happy, reach out by email. We can set up a time to talk on Zoom, and I'd love to give you some perspective. I've been doing this for a number of years now. I see the need, and you know, maybe you can pick my brain. I'm happy to do it. The other thing is for I guess maybe what we can do you want to do an announcement out in your next newsletter or for the winner of the free program?
But I can do it now. If I had the video, you can see how honest I am. I actually do have names in a hat.
Okay, beautiful.
I promise everyone that actually is in my hand right now. So I'm just going to shuffle it around, and we'll just announce the winner of the free course. And it is Crystal Grant. So Crystal, well done.
All right, congratulations, Crystal. That's awesome. All right, and hopefully, you know, this is the first of many webinars to come on this topic. We'd have different courses we can talk about. So whatever people are interested in, I'd be happy to come back and talk about it. All right, thank you very much, everyone. And you will be receiving an email with a link for the replay for the webinar. Keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Thank you. Good night.